Hi everyone, thanks for coming along today. Today we're going to show you through how you can start your qualitative analysis projects using Quirkos Web, and that's a really powerful tool that you can use in your browser wherever you are to work on your data, to create codes and themes, analyze and explore your qualitative data. It's very simple and easy to pick up, and I'm around today if you've got any questions at the end. You can just get in touch. I'm happy to demonstrate anything that we don't cover today, or if you have any questions, for example, about applying a particular type of analysis. Quirkos gives you a 14-day free trial of the web version. You can also download an app to install on your computer as well, if you prefer to work like that. There are some small differences in the interface. Today I'm just going to go over the web version. And once you've registered for an account and signed in, this is what you'll see here. These are a list of the recently used projects basically. By clicking on one of these I can open them. I've got options here to share them with other people, so you can do live collaboration on these projects. And if you're looking for a particular project, you can search in here as well. So we've got the Qualitative Researcher's Journey project here. You can see some copies that I have of that. There's also lists here of things that are shared with you, and your account settings here, which will let you do things like add the automated transcription service, or start and stop your subscription whenever you need to. What we're going to do here today is take you through starting a new project, bringing in some data, creating codes and themes, and analyzing them. I'm going to also go through some of the changes which we've made to improve the web version in the last couple of months. So I'm just going to click on the new project here. We'll create a project name. You just create it, so we'll call this webinar project. There's an option here to add a password which will encrypt the project, and that gives an extra layer of security. But I'm just going to create a new project here. Yeah, and this is the interface. So basically it's split in half along this screen. This slider you can kind of change the width here. What you'll see is basically we've got the ability here to create codes and themes on this left side. This is what we call the canvas area here, and on the right side of here, this is where we create the codes and themes. The text which we imported. So the moment it says create new source or select existing one. So we don't have any data at the moment, so the first thing we probably want to do is click on the main menu, which is up in the top left, and then add sources. You've got three options here. You can create a blank source, which you can edit, you can type in, copy and paste, import text files from your computer, so PDF files, Word files, also Excel files, CSV. You've also got a transcribe option here, and we've got an automated transcription service which you can try for free, get 100 minutes free. That allows you to bring in any kind of audio or video data you have and get very quickly back a very accurate transcript. So it's a super useful tool if you're working with interviews or something like that and you don't have those transcribed yet. So I'm just going to click here on the import here, and this will give us just the standard file dialog for our computer. So I'm just going to go here to downloads and Qualitative Researcher Journeys project. And this is actually an example project which any of you can download. It's available on our website, but we'll just bring in some of the transcripts here. So I can use this to select one or more of these at once. So I'll just bring in one, or I'll bring them all in, I might as well. So these are just Word files. You can bring in many different sources of text into Quirkos, and you can also kind of copy and paste. So I've selected those, file imported, and those have all come in now. Great. And so what I can do now is I can see these tabs which have appeared along here, and I can scroll up and down to see the tabs, and each of these represents a different source. In this case, the transcript of an interview that was a Word file that we've copied into the project. And that means that we can kind of go through these, work on one at a time, go backwards and forwards however we like. We can start our coding and analysis across all of those different sources. Now, One way that we can start sorting and organizing these sources is what we call the source properties. And that's controlled by this button in the upper right of the screen here. And by default, we don't have any properties, but we can use these to create categories and groups of our sources and to describe them in different ways. So one of the most common ways to use this would be to create basic demographic properties. So this might be age, for example, and then we put in a value like 43, click save. And so now we've created a property called age, and we can put in anything we like. So this person's now 65. We can create another one here called location. We can add values here, so Edinburgh, for example. We'll choose Edinburgh for this person. Or we can just type in other ones here, like London. So it's very quick to categorize and group these. So these properties now occur across all the different sources, but we don't have values for them yet. So Caroline, we can use the drop-down list to select something there. We can say she's 23. We can say she's based in Spain. So we can say define these any way we like. There's no limit to the number of properties you can have. They can be numeric, they can be discrete categories, might be things like on elements of a like-it scale, or you can even use it for your own kind of comments and interpretations. But as we'll show you later, this allows you to kind of drill down and do analysis on any of the data. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just unselect the properties there, go back to the text, and we're going to start kind of coding and exploring the data. So quite familiar with Bruce's, so I'm just going to scroll up to the top of this one. The size a bit better. There we go, good. Okay, so I've made this quite big on the screen, so hopefully you can see it streaming through YouTube quite well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start reading through here and creating some codes. Let's see what they're talking about. So no, I guess I've been academia to varying degrees, most of my professional life. So we could say this code is about a bunch of things actually, but so we'll select some text and drag and drop it into an empty space on the left, and that'll create a new category, a new topic or code. And I'm going to call this academia. Might be interesting to tag all the different times we talk about academia. So being or working in academia. Space here for a longer description. We can choose any kind of color we like for that. So have yellow for academia, orangey yellow. And you can now see that we've created this code called academia. Hovering over it will show that description and the number of pieces of text which have been coded to it, just one at the moment. And we've also got this highlighted column here, which shows us we hover over there, academia. And we can right click to delete that, but we've also got undo and redo for all the operations. So that piece of text has been assigned to the academia theme, but it can be all other themes as well. So let's drag and drop it and also call this one professional life. I'll just choose a blue here. And so now this piece of text has been assigned to two things. So it's about professional life, and it's also about academia. And what we can do is we can keep creating codes in these ways. So I've worked outside of educational institutions. So we could drag and drop that and have that outside academia. Pink for that. But this was also university work, so we'll put that in there as well. What you can see is the bubbles grow the more of text you add to them. So the relative size of them shows you how much has been coded in the project. And you can keep going through and creating these codes in this kind of grounded theory, inductive styles we're doing at the moment. But there's also other ways that we can start grouping and categorizing these codes. So I guess to a certain extent all of these things are about work. So I'm going to create a new code by right clicking anywhere in the canvas and calling this work or types of work. Black, okay, fine, I don't mind. Oh, green, good, that's a bit better. So we can drag and drop that onto types of work, and also from there into professional life as well, outside academia. I guess this is all about work. So what we've done is we've created these subcategories here. We can do that just by pulling these codes in and out of the parent bubble. And by doing that, we allow ourselves to start grouping and categorizing these codes. And this is especially helpful later when we have maybe lots and lots of different codes and themes, as we'll show you in an example later. But now if we, let's create one more code here. We'll call it research. We won't put anything in there for now. Oh, I've already got yellow anyway. But what I could do is, by double clicking on any of these bubbles, it shows me all the text which I've coded under there. So this is the types of work theme here. And going all the way down, these are the subcategories that we have in the academia, professional life, outside academia. And on the right here, these are all the different aspects of text that we've assigned to them. And if we click just on professional life, for example, it will just show us this one quote which is about professional life. But we can edit in this view as well. So we could say maybe this is about research as well, and we can drag and drop onto there as well. And now this is about 3 different things here. We can click again at the top here to select just that one, or just any one of these codes that we want to see. And where we have multiple codes, like in this academia theme, you'll see the attribution of where they come from. If we click on this, it'll take us back to that part in the text. But you'll also see that there are these tick boxes here. And these allow us to select all the quotes that we have and copy and paste them wherever we're writing up. So that's where a system like this becomes really useful. Like when you've got the quotes that you need to back up the particular part of the research you're writing up, it's very easy to find those in these views. Tick and select to choose them, copy and paste them wherever you're writing up. And the home view will always take you back to this main view. So the next thing that I'll show you is some of the ways that we can also write in the project. So some memos and analytic writing that we can do. One of the other things is here we've got the ability here to drag and drop text onto this column here, which is called the memo column. And this allows us to write a little bit about it. So we might write a comment to ourselves, we might make an analytical note, we might use this to start creating codes and themes before we've actually kind of come to the stage of creating formal codes and themes. So if I drag and drop this piece of text here onto the memo column here, I could say, what's the answer? Fair to middling, I suppose, laughs. This person likes to make jokes. And so we've got the attribution here, so we can see who made this comment, and we can see that this is about that section of code. It always stays assigned to that text. We can also, there's a chat function in Quirkos, and you can also use this just as a kind of log, keep messages for your own benefit. Starting to code today. And it's also useful, of course, if you're collaborating with people, if you want to show, have discussions about how you're coding the data. You can also use the memos, whether you're working as part of a team or working individually. The other way that we can do this kind of descriptive writing is obviously by creating blank sources and editing them, which we can do in Quirkos here too. So you could have a source in which you write and edit in. But for most people, they'll find the chat and also the memo function as well is very useful for annotating your text. It's kind of a little bit like putting little kind of scribbles and notes in the columns, except it's everywhere that you want to kind of look at the data. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a project, actually the same project where we've done a lot more coding and analysis. So you can see some of the ways that we group those codes and some of the ways that those properties we created earlier could be used to filter the project. So if I go here to projects, I'm going to search again for journey. Again, you can find this project file and you can download it and work with it yourself. And what we've got here is, a lot more codes. We've created subcategories here under expectations, for example, who does the research. And we've also got so lots of subcategories here, and you can see kind of in the text here, lots and lots of coding. So this is a good example of a project that's kind of been fully worked on. I think it's about 100 codes or so all in, maybe not quite that many. And all of the codes in here have been, all the sources in here have been coded up. What I can do now is let's have a quick look at one of these views. Let's look at teaching. We see all the different aspects under here that we have about teaching. If we resize this here, we can see, yeah, there's lots of work here. We can see just the extracts of text which are about stories or cautionary tales, perhaps. Why not? Okay, there's nothing coded to that one. Students are difficult. So we can drill down and see where these particular codes and this coding has come from. We can also recode in that view as well if we want to remove it from there or add it to a different code. But let's have a quick look at the filters and the properties here. So these are the filters, and these are ways that we can look through and see things. We can do text search in here, for example. So we want to see every time people use the word student. So Danny said that the most. These are the 45 instances where she said student and where that was in the text. We can also go to what do we have here? Any of the others and see the results there. But apart from the text search, we've got these criteria here by which we can kind of filter and query the data. One of the ways that we can do that is if we're collaborating on a project to see work done by people on a particular date or a particular person. We can see who created the particular code or who did that piece of coding. We've also got quirk dates, that's when that quirk was created, groups which we've created, but also we've got these properties here. So location would be a pretty good one here. We can see all the results from people in England, and that will show us, these are the results now from where the training gap is, where people are talking about the training gap in England. So these are results from Roger and Caroline. So these are sources where the property is from the property is England. And what this allows us to do is drill down and see, okay, more people talking about expectations than anything else. Lots of people talking about training gap. But then we can also do side-by-side comparison in this view. So with this button here, we can split the screen in half and then run two queries side by side. And what that would allow us to do is see the different things which another group of people might create. So you have to, excuse me, I need to zoom out a bit, just for streaming purposes. It's going to get a bit small, sorry. So for the second query here, we could do, let's choose location again, and we'll choose the location of Australia. And then I'll click apply filter. And that shows us the results now here for people in Australia. And we can see expectations is also a big deal here, but messy journeys is there as well. Quite a bit higher. Well, actually, I think the interesting thing that's popping out me here is that training gap is mentioned a lot more in England than it is in Australia. What we want to do is, in fact, where is training gap here? Okay, so only 5 mentions about that being maybe a problem. So maybe there's something interesting here. So what it would be useful to do is to see how much that is. And sorry, yeah, someone's just mentioned in the chat that these codes have the numbers next to them here, and that shows us how many results we found for this one. So in the set from England, we found 21 quotes, and from the set from Australia, we've only found 5. But we don't want to rely entirely on that quantitative metric. We want to read through the text and see if there is actually a kind of difference in how people are talking that. And again, we've always got these kind of tick boxes here by which we can select these codes and copy and paste them. So if we want to collect together all the comments people made from our England cohort about the training gap, we can put that together right there. So that's a very useful way to kind of explore the data. I can zoom in a bit more now, make it a bit bigger for you. Great. And now we've coded this, one of the other things that might be useful to do is show you some of the other views that we can have to arrange the canvas. So there's also a kind of list view, and in this list view, it's a little bit more like a kind of traditional view you might find in other qualitative software, a bit with all the colors. And these codes work in the same way, so you can drag and drop text onto them and to code to them. But when you have large numbers, especially large numbers of subcategories, it can sometimes be a little bit easier in this view, although I have zoomed in quite a lot. But even back on the canvas view, we also have ways that we can arrange those. So we can put the bubbles in terms of alphabetical order or size. And again, so Debbie's just asked in the chat the numbers next to it. So there are a couple of numbers here. So Kathy, who created this project, has put numbers at the beginning of them. She had a kind of coding framework that she wanted to create, and her numbers are part of that. So she created those numbers. Hovering the mouse over them also shows this number 8 at the top for this one, 14 for that one. Those are the number of times which we've used that code. So the number of extracts of text that we've assigned to that code. And so within this view, we could do it by data range as well. So we can see when things have been created and put it in descending or ascending order. And it's quite fun here to kind of see which codes are kind of popping out most. When you've gone through and you've coded and explored the data, there are a bunch of ways that you probably want to export it and explore it as well. One of them might be the word cloud. The word cloud basically counts the number of words, number of times different words are used. You can see research is a particularly common one here, and clicking on this will run a query to show where those words were used. And sometimes this can be useful to show the kind of dominant words and the kind of dominant themes which are going on. And screenshotting this is a really nice kind of output to have. But we also have more kind of formal exports. So for example, we've got we can export the document as a spreadsheet. So if we want to do kind of more analytical data, we can create an Excel spreadsheet out of this data. And you can see here now we've got kind of the tables. We've got all the different quotes, the codes. It's a bit small in this view, but basically this is all the kind of coded data that we have for the project. And if we want to do any statistical data or generate different graphs and things like that, we can do that easily in Excel or SPSS or R. We've also got a word export, which basically gives you the sources back in the same way that you kind of imported them, but with your coding as color-coded highlights. So for example here, I'll just try and zoom out a little bit here. This example here shows a standard Word file, and it's used the Memos function here to show our codes and our coding here. And this can be very useful to print out and take away from the computer, but also to kind of share with someone, particularly a supervisor, so they can see the whole of the interview and how we kind of coded it and interpreted it. Another option that we have here is the report. And that's probably one of the kind of more commonly used ones. And the report's kind of quite a comprehensive overview of basically everything in the project. So we've got a table here for the different sources that we imported, who imported them and when, how long they were, and how many quotes there were on each of them. So that's the summary of sources. If we don't need that in our report, we can untick it there and then it won't show. So we can customize the different sections that we want in here. So there's a summary of the themes, their relationship to each other, if they're parents or grandparents. We have subcategories, visualizations of the codes and the relations between them, and then also the text, which we can arrange in different ways. So we can put them in terms of the codes in terms of quirk titles. It's basically in like alphabetical order. Again, the numerical order here with the numbers that we have, so that was quite useful. But we can also have text by source. And what that would do is show us everything that a particular person, we'd quoted from a particular person. So this is Roger from health background. It's not his name, Roger Health, unfortunately. And you can see these are the different things, the different quotes that they had from each of the different codes. And we can customize these views as well. So if we want to include the properties here, it could be useful to see, maybe we want to have the location marked for each of these quotes so we can see where that particular comment came from. And when we've customized the way we want this, we can print, and that also allows us to print to PDF, which gives us a nice PDF file. We can also save this as a HTML web page to share in this interactive way, or as a Word document, which gives us all of the data in here, these tables again, as a kind of editable Word file. And you can kind of customize this however you want. You'll see kind of all these quotes in here, and you can change the styling and the layout as you wish. So those are the main ways of kind of working with the data, bringing and importing the data, and exporting the data. I'm here now if you've got any questions, if there's anything else you want me to demonstrate here. And also if there's any other questions you have, always free to get in touch with us. Support@quirkos.com is the best email address. That's monitored 7 days a week. But of course there's also the free trial. So you just need to go to www.quirkos.com, and then here you can just click try Quirkos Cloud, and click here to register for the free trial. There's a lot more information here as well, including lots of tutorials to learn Quirkos with different lengths, video tutorials, step-by-step guides, and the quick web guide. So there's lots of different ways, depending on how much time you have, that you can kind of learn this. And also if you go to www.quirkos.com/workshops, you'll also see these example projects here. The one I've been showing you here is the Qualitative Researcher's Journey project. And here the transcription analysis, you'll be able to see the transcripts. You can work on these projects yourself. And there's also kind of coded examples. So you'll see here in the analysis section, we've also got Quirkos projects, and also the Common Exchange format, QDPX, that allows you to kind of see what a coded qualitative project looks like. So I'm just going to put the email in the chat. As I said, we're here 7 days a week if you've got any queries. You can phone us as well in UK office hours. And all our support staff are experienced qualitative researchers, as well as being able to help out with the technical side of things. So we're happy to kind of help however you like. Don't also forget to try our automated transcription service. That's proving very popular. It's really handy if you've got audio and you've not been through the tedious process of exporting that yet. We have lots of ways to help you with your qualitative research journey. So thanks for coming along today. Do get in touch if you've got any queries, and hope Quirkos helps with your qualitative research projects.